Hello everyone, my name is Taylor, and welcome to Film Reel, the fangirl sanctuary in a space infested by dude bros. The release of the highly anticipated movie Across the Spiderverse did not disappoint in the slightest. Fans waited 6 years for the second installment of the Spiderverse series, and I'd like to say that Marvel knows how to make a multiverse movie unlike some other studios. But based on the current climate of the Marvel Universe, I will save my praises for a little bit longer. Myself, like many other fans, left the theaters with more questions than I had going in, but surprisingly, none of them had to do with the cliffhanger ending. Seeing all the different Spider-Men from various universes got me thinking. I figured that if each universe had their own Spider-Man equivalent, then they must have the equivalent of our other favorite characters. So I took it upon myself to do some research and kind of fell down a rabbit hole. I don't know if this will turn into a series. I'd love it to be if you guys respond positively. But today I'm going to be talking about the Marvel heroes from Earth-65. Captain America has been a longtime favorite character of mine, and in this universe, Captain America is Samantha Wilson. She became the first African-American woman to receive commission as a pilot in the U.S. Civil Air Patrol, but this accomplishment kept her from the front lines. She was restricted to doing air shows on the home front. Discontent with her position and longing to see action in battle, Sam was offered the opportunity to take part in Project Rebirth, alongside three others, Isaiah Bradley, Steve Rogers, and Bucky Barnes. After a Nazi double agent infiltrated the experiment, Sam was the only subject who escaped. After that, she began fighting in the war, and she encountered Hydra scientist Armin Zola, who created a very elaborate weapon, a multi-dimensional gate, that he would use to bring Nazi forces from other universes into his own to make the Nazi force more powerful. She was able to destroy the gateway, but in the process, she got sucked into the portal, and for 75 years, Sam wandered from dimension to dimension until finally making her way back to the present. In the modern world, Sam met Sam 13, a male clone of herself made by Peggy Carter in order to replicate the success of Project Rebirth. Sam mentored her clone, and they fought side by side as Captain America and the Falcon. The next character I'm going to talk about today is Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. I absolutely love the Defenders series, especially the Punisher and Daredevil, but I'll get into him a little bit later. First seen in Spider-Gwen issue number 1, published in February 2015, Frank Castle is a highly decorated Marine who enlisted after the events of 9/11. At the end of his military service, Castle was offered a spot on War Machine, which was Tony Stark's private army. After finishing his service with Stark, Castle returned to his family and joined the NYPD, where he earned the nickname the Punisher for treating suspects like enemy soldiers and displaying excessive amounts of violence. He was promoted to captain of the Special Crimes Task Force after taking down a notorious gang, replacing George Stacy. Their last battle ended with Castle running out of ammunition before he could kill her, and he fled the scene, becoming a fugitive of the law. While running from the law, Castle became a vigilante himself and continued to hunt Spider-Woman as well as other foes, including the kingpin of crime, Matt Murdock. As a child, Matt Murdock was in a severe car crash with a chemical truck, which spilled toxic waste that rendered him blind, but also gave him superhuman abilities. Also as a result of the crash, his mother, Maggie Murdock, entered a coma. Matt's father, Jack, was a boxer who was desperately trying to work up the ranks and win bigger fights to pay off the medical bills for his wife and son. Like in the show, Jack realized his fights had been rigged by a crime boss, and instead of purposely losing his last fight, Jack won, costing the boss a large sum. As revenge, the boss's men attacked Matt and his father, but the fight was interrupted by a vigilante named Stick. Unfortunately, Stick arrived a moment too late because the goons had fatally injured Jack. Now essentially an orphan, Matt was taken in by Stick and trained to defeat the same crime syndicate that had Matt's father killed. During a battle with the syndicate's ninja allies, called the Hand, Stick is killed, but the Hand was so impressed with Matt's fighting skills that they took him in and trained him to become a deadly assassin. Matt was raised as an assassin in Japan by the Hand, but when he was a young adult, he decided to return to the United States and attended Empire State University, where he received a law degree. While in college, Matt began working for Kingpin, aka Wilson Fisk. Upon Matt's graduation, Matt was promoted to Fisk's chief advisor, and when Fisk was arrested by Captain George Stacy, Matt took over operations and ran the weakened remains of Fisk's empire. Matt took notice of Spider-Woman, a new vigilante in New York, and he had the idea to take her in and mentor her to be his successor. Matt ordered a hit on Captain George Stacy to halt his investigation into Spider-Woman, but it was unsuccessful. Murdock eventually found out Spider-Woman's identity, and in an attempt to blackmail her into joining him, His assassins would kill Frank Castle, her known enemy, in exchange for Gwen joining Matt. Now I'm going to finally talk about Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Woman. Gwen Stacy is this universe's Spider-Man variant. She was raised by her single father, George Stacy, after her mother's death. She became best friends with her neighbor, Peter Parker. After she was bitten by a genetically engineered spider, retired superhero Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp, gave her web shooters that she invented in her lab. During a mission in Madripoor under the direction of Kingpin Matt Murdock, Gwen becomes bonded with the Venom symbiote, which made her more aggressive and violent, especially as it was fueled by her rage. During a confrontation with Rhino, the Punisher intervened and struck Gwen with a sonic baton, which separated her from the symbiote, but she enjoyed the power Venom gave her so much that she rebonded with it. Now on a path of vengeance, she searches for Matt Murdock, defeating Captain America in the process. When she finally caught Murdock, she backed him to the edge of a rooftop and was prepared to kill him when Matt Murdock tried to reason with her. He confessed his obsession with her, offered her power, the same power that corrupted him. His tactics seemed to work because she pulled him away from the edge, but as she did so, the teleportation device that Matt wore on his wrist activated and opened a portal to Earth-65, which Gwen was then sucked into. The next character I'm going to talk about is Peter Parker. As seen in the beginning of the Spider-Verse movie, Peter Parker, desperate to emulate his hero, Spider-Woman, conducts an experiment to give himself similar powers, but he turns himself into a reptilian monster. In his new form, Peter wreaked havoc at the senior prom, and Spider-Woman arrived to stop him, though she was unaware of the creature's true identity. After it was defeated, the monster turned back into Peter, but by the time Gwen realized it was her best friend, he had already died from his injuries. While there are obviously too many characters to explore in one video, I just wanted to touch on these two minor characters that I found interesting. Howard the Duck was the former president of the United States in this universe, and speaking of presidents, Donald Trump exists in this universe in a very different form than what we're used to. Making his debut in Spider-Gwen Annual No. 1, released in 2016, Donald Trump takes the form of MODOK, but in this universe he's called MODAK, meaning mental organism designed as America's king. Complete with orange skin, tiny hands, and his signature catchphrase, MODOK strongly advocated for a wall to be built along the US-Mexico border. That is all I have for the characters of Earth-65. Of course, there are many other characters in this universe, but these are the ones that I personally found the most interesting. I think that Kingpin Matt Murdock is my favorite, but I'm a little biased because I think he'd be my favorite no matter the universe. I would love to make this into a series, so if you like this kind of video, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing, that way you can see more of my content. Also, please don't forget to support creatives, especially writers and artists that work on your favorite shows, movies, and other forms of media. Without the creatives behind all of these projects, everything would be half-baked, bland AI productions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.